Still? It's like watching a watch pot bowl. Hey, Kels. Is it? Alrighty, we're going to call our meeting to order. We appreciate you being here. We'll stand for the invocation and the pledge. Mr. Thomas, will you lead us in the invocation?
Sure. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time we can come together and do our county's business. We just ask you to guide our hearts and our minds and our actions today. We ask you to just watch over those who need you at this time. Our friend, Brother Brent Pell, he's in a tough way right now. We ask you to just put your hand over him, the doctors that are caring for him, and also his family during this time. We ask you to watch over our first responders and our military, keep them safe, and so they keep us safe in return. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, let's get rolling. We're going to move right on into the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Madam Chair, we would be pulling tab 25, which is final plat FP 2114 at the request of the applicant.
Thank you.
We'll also be adding on the add-on item for the request approval of First Amendment consent order between FDEP and Wakulla County.
Thank you. You're doing that under general business?
Yes, please.
Wow.
I'll file my motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Jess, do we have any citizens to be heard? Our first citizen to be heard is David Damon.
Thank you, Commissioners. David Damon. This has to do with the bike trail, an issue at the bike trail that's happening right now. They're working on the bike trail, and this has to do with right across the street from Pikett's Cash and Carry site. This is my yard back in 2012 after Tropical Storm Debbie. Now, I was flooded out, and I'm going to get back to how the bike trail ties into this. Can I see the next one, Jess? That's a 4-foot high fence in my backyard. Those are the kids canoeing over it. Next one. Okay, that is how I got to the stairs. The first floor is flooded out. That's how I got to the stairs to get inside. This went on for 5 months. Next one. It's a result of the illegal filling off of Carter Road, and it was the equivalent of 3 football fields that happened back in 2006 before any of you guys. But the county cited this guy and then didn't follow up on it, told him to stop, and then they allowed it to continue. So he continued to fill and fill and fill. This was a duck pond that Freeman Pykett used to hunt ducks out of when he was a kid. It's now like 3 football fields. Like I say, it's a huge area of sand. It blocked the water flow that used to go down into the refuge along Carter Road. Next one. You can see the purple line is the historic flow. I can't walk away from here. The red circle is our property. The blue line is how the water was diverted because you see the X in the middle there with the lime colored circle. That's where all the filling was done. So it forced the water to go down Posey Road, hop across Carter Road, go down Posey Road, and flood us out. Now, along the bike trail, you see that little black line right there along 98. There's a chance right now to correct some of this anyway. But what they're wanting to do is put a bunch of dirt in there for the bike trail, and the purple was a historic flow down into the refuge down Purify Bay Road. Next one, Jesse. So it all comes through Highway 98. This culvert, 36-inch culvert at Pikett's. Next one. And this is where it comes out. Next one. And this is the ditch area that they're planning to fill. Now today, this afternoon, I was talking to the contractor, and I found out that not only are they planning to fill it, but all the water along there, next one please, they're planning to divert back down towards that culvert and send it through the woods, which is going to make our problem even worse. Next one please. This is what it looks like. This needs to be dealt with. The county needs to get involved in this before they just fill it all in and make everybody's problems worse on Posey Road. Everybody's getting flooded out down there. So, what I'm here tonight to get a fire lit under somebody to get with the state and figure this out before it gets any worse. So, I'll talk more later maybe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bremner?
Welcome back, Ed. Thank you, Randy. Commissioners, I appreciate you letting me come up tonight and speak. Take just a few minutes. I'm really speaking to the citizens out there. I'm encouraging everyone, now's the time to come into our office and fill out a homestead exemption. For all you folks who have neighbors out there, many of our neighbors that move in from another state, they've never heard of a homestead exemption. It's not something that's in all states. And so if you've got a neighbor that came in from Texas or Nebraska or anywhere else, please encourage them to come to our office and fill out a homestead exemption. Now, in addition to those, there are many other exemptions that people may be eligible for, and we want everybody to get every exemption they're eligible for. I don't have time to go into detail here, but there's a local option that you guys have approved for 65 and older. So if you're 65 and older, come in and talk to us about this. If you're widowed or a widower, there's an exemption that you can apply for. If you're blind, there's an exemption. If you're totally and permanently disabled, there's an exemption. And then there's some veterans exemptions also, veterans and first responder exemptions. If you're a disabled veteran, age 65 or older, there's some special exemption for you. If you're disabled 10% or more, there's some exemptions for you. A veteran that's confined to a wheelchair who's totally and permanently disabled, all your taxes can be exempted. So please, now's the time to make those exemptions. One other thing I want to touch on, and that is the tangible personal property filing. Tangible personal properties are all things that you use for your business other than the real estate, and there's taxes on that. A lot of businesses don't know you're supposed to file these. In fact, in full disclosure, I've owned a business in Wakulla County for quite a while, have never filed a TPP form, ever. The first $25,000 of your TPP is exempt. You know, I own a 5-year-old laptop and a printer, and that's all, and decades of knowledge, that's all I own, so I would be exempt. But you're supposed to file that first filing, and then you're exempt, and then you don't have to file again. So I'm encouraging all businesses, if you own a business, just file with us. If it's less than $25,000, there's no exemption, there's no taxes, and then you don't have to file again because we've got it on record. So that's one other thing. In our office, we're going to be another subject now. In our office, we're going to be putting a photo of all the past property appraisers, and we've got photos of all of them, except for a guy who served from 1953 to 1960, right around that time frame. His name, from what I understand, was Jimmy Gwynn. That's Quinne, possibly Quin. If anyone has a photo of him, please let us know. We're looking for a photo of Jimmy Gwynn so that we can put him on our wall as one of our past property appraisers. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bob Davis?
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I sat on the board for 2 terms, so I know all what you go through. I work for the animal shelter. Very hard for you guys, and I need your help. Can I show you these pictures, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll pass them down if you want to hand them to me.
This is what they put across my street last week, across my house. That's a solar panel. This is the left side of the house. That solar panel is approximately to power up a 3,000 to 4,000 square foot house. This is a 1,000 square foot home. What they're doing is building it bigger to sell the power back to the grid. And I Googled what I could find was all about commercial, so not much about the homes. And that unit is 42 foot long, 16 feet high, wide, and maybe 18 feet at that point, at the highest point. And that's what I look at when I come out my door now. I don't know how the county permitted this thing. It should be, if it's fence around it, something. I mean, that's overkill. That's commercial.
What's your address, sir?
13 Jenny Lynn Road. I appreciate someone would come look at this. And the left side of the house is nothing but trash, 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 as you can see. It's just a nightmare. Dogs barking, 5, 6, 7 dogs. He's got a big burn pile there now. He brings home brush, burns it in piles.
Talk to code enforcement?
I haven't. I had doctors Friday and doctors today, so I just came here.
That sounds like your best way forward is to talk to code enforcement, file a complaint, and they'll go investigate it.
How about now the solar panels? That's what is that?
I can't answer that. I think I saw this today. Where's Jenny Lynn Road at?
Off of Wakulla, Aaron.
Main Road, just past Songbird on the right-hand side,
Okay.
about half a mile.
I mean, that's not a homeowner solar panel. Let's face it. I mean, we all know that. You know, it's not something you put on your roof. It's not on a roof because it's a mobile home. 1,000 square foot mobile home, about 12 to 16 panels. That's it. That's all it is.
I'm not aware that we have any way to restrict the size of someone's panel, but like Randy said, check
I understand that.
code enforcement and check with the building department.
I understand that, but just going out further on, size units like this should be at least fenced or something. I mean, you're all going to have to deal with this one day. You wouldn't want to be looking out your door. I'm sure. It looks like a spaceship landed there.
It's better than the trash. I think I would start with the trash with code enforcement.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. I'm at a loss of what we can possibly do about it.
Can't you see it, Wakulla?
I mean, a fence or something? I mean,
Side road. You turn on Jenny Lynn to be on the left.
that's just look at the value of my home. What's it done for that?
Thank you, sir.
This?
Let's start off with code enforcement.
Yep, come by planning and zoning tomorrow, they're in the planning and zoning office, and you can talk to Brenda, and,
Linda.
Linda, and, Brenda, and she
Randy.
can walk you through it.
You guys want to keep one of these just to have?
No, thank you.
Linda will do that, she'll take care of all that. We have
Thank you,
a process.
everybody.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis.
For your shelter.
Yes, you do.
Thank you for that.
Alrighty, we're going to move on to awards and presentations and ask Dr. Rachel Pianta to come up with the 4-H children and announce Wakulla Wonderful Week.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, Randy.
Quincy tell you earlier, so I figured I'd steal her story.
Thanks. Good evening, everybody. I have a group of 4-H youth here with me tonight, and we're here to invite everyone to the Color Wonderful events, which this year will be held March 12th, which is one day after the county's birthday. We're talking about birthdays tonight. The county's founding is March 11th, so we're celebrating it the Saturday after. We also have a chance to prepare for that with Walk Across Wakulla, which is our invitation to walk 32 miles between now and March 7th, the equivalent of walking Highway 98 between Jefferson County line and Franklin County line. And we'll be recognizing folks who complete that challenge at the Wakulla Wonderful Birthday Party, among other great events. So you'll be hearing more about that over the coming weeks.
She does that every year, doesn't she?
Yes, she does.
Randy's going to cut the cake this year.
I think that would be awesome. But the youth tonight have a proclamation they would like you to approve, and they would like to go ahead and read it to you, if that is okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Allie's first.
Sorry.
All right, Allie.
Whereas the land we know as Wakulla County has an extensive and rich history dating as far back as the Paleo-Indian period of approximately 1200 BC. to its more recent territorial history from the early 1500s to the 1850s. And whereas Wakulla County's rich history continued as it formed as Florida's 23rd county by the Florida legislature on March 11th, 1843.
March 11th, 2022 is the 179th anniversary of Wakulla County as the county of the great state of Florida, and whereas the citizens of Wakulla County, like the many people who came before them, recognize the wonderful natural characteristics and bounty of Wakulla County from its many springs, rivers, bays, to its coastal marshes and upland forests, and whereas
the citizens of Wakulla County recognize the wonderful attributes of Wakulla County as providing a wonderful place to live, to work, to go to school, to raise a family, and to recreate. And whereas the Wakulla County 4-H program is supported by the University of Florida, IFA's Extension Office, and by the Wakulla County Board of County Commissioners to educate and promote growth among the citizens of Wakulla County.
Whereas heads, heart, hands, and health are the 4 H's in 4-H, and they are... Did I get it wrong? Didn't he read?
He did. So go ahead and read to right there, and then Emma's going to come up. Emma?
Whereas heads, hearts, hands, and health are the 4 H's in 4-H, and they are the 4 value members agreed to live by and uphold in the 4-H pledge to serve their community.
Thank you. All right, Emma. So you have, sweetheart, the part that starts here and, okay? Go ahead. And
the Wakulla County 4-H decided
dedicated
employees, members, and volunteers want to recognize the wonderfulness of Wakulla County.
Awesome job, Emma.
Now therefore, the Wakulla County Board of County Commissioners do hereby proclaim March 6th through 12th, 2022 as Wakulla Wonderful Week, and call upon all citizens to recognize and express their appreciation for the wonderful place we call home, Wakulla County, Florida.
Motion to approve. Second.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you very much. Well, Randy, you jumped ahead of yourself. We're going to move on to consent now.
We got a motion on the floor, Madam Chair.
Oh, I thought we had a second.
We did. Ralph did.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Carry on.
You opposed it?
No. Randy, move to the next item. Now we're going to move on to consent.
Move consent. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any consent items pulled for discussion tonight? Seeing none. We're going to move on into general business.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to handle this item tonight since Summer is not with us. This is an item to request board consideration regarding an application for reduction of the code enforcement lien pertaining to case number CE 2020-136. On July, well, let me give you a little bit more of a complete timeline than is written here. The initial notice of violation for this property was issued in January 2020 for construction without permits. This included extending plumbing and electrical for RV sites and unapproved RV spaces used for RVs. Staff and the applicant worked through the site plan process to seek approval for extension of the RV park. Following that site plan approval, permits and the DPA and building permits were not obtained.
So they ran the electric without permits.
That's correct.
That's what's in the pictures.
That's correct. The code board then finally brought this matter to hearing on July 8th, 2020, which is where your agenda item picks up. During the hearing, the respondent agreed to the July 31st compliance date. The compliance date was set for July 31st to obtain those permits and to complete the work and pass inspections.
respondent came in on July 31st and applied for the permit on that compliance date, but the package was incomplete. They still required an electrical plan and a DPA at the time of submittal. The planning department sent the building department the electrical plan contained in the site on 8/18. The permit was paid for and issued on 8/18, and final compliance was gained on November 23rd. The applicant had the property was out of compliance for then a total of 114 days.
Not counting the time period between the citation and the thing. My point in reading this was, whoever the person was, they had 7 months from the time they got cited to the time they started getting fined to pull some permits and move some trailers. They didn't do it. Motion did not approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
When I first read this, I thought they had like 30 days, but after further research, they had 7 months.
Ms. Linda Marshall?
Okay, I'd like to speak on that subject right there. When I went in, I was under the understanding, and it might have been my error, okay, but I was under the understanding because it was during the time of COVID, and the electrician that I had decided that he wasn't going to do that particular work. He wasn't going to be able to work it in. So it left me at an end to find another electrician, and it was a difficult chore, but I did find somebody. But also, a couple of people who had their RVs parked on those illegal sites, and even though they were illegal, there had always been an existing sewer line there. It was not electric, but it was existing sewer, and some people couldn't move. And I came in and I constantly spoke to Miss Linda and told her that I couldn't move these people off their sites because one of them was in California. I was kind of under the understanding that as long as I got everybody moved off by the end of July, that I wouldn't go to code enforcement. Believe me, I was kind of shocked when I found out. I got them moved off because the lady in California who couldn't get here gave us permission to move her RV without her, and we moved it. And at the last minute, because I told them I didn't even know if I was going to be able to get that one off, but I did get it off, and I let them know we got them off, but still, it didn't help, because at that time I found out now I'm going to code enforcement, to the final board. Well, I was kind of perplexed. I didn't realize that was what was going to happen. I'm not a criminal. I didn't feel like I was constantly communicating to everybody involved, and there was an old permit outstanding, and I went to the building department, and because the front area was originally grandfathered in, I added it only to the site plan because I wanted to have what I didn't have, all the information in one place, so that if I ever sold it or the county needed it, all the information for the whole RV park would be on the same site plan. They wouldn't have to pull multiple plans. It deals with 2 different subdivisions, not one. So that was my mistake of putting that information on there. I should not have, because I could have pulled that permit and put in the water and sewer with no problem at all on the first sites at the front. And so I was under the understanding that I didn't come and ask permission. I just went and got the permit. Well, at the time when I pulled that permit, which I got a copy of, years before, Summer said she had a question about the sewer, so she didn't approve the sewer in 2017, because I was going to put them in 2017. And she rejected it because she held on to the sewer. She said, I got to see if you can put the sewer in there. And so I waited. She never answered. I didn't put the sewer in. Believe it or not, the water line was there. Okay? So I let it go at that. I never called in for a final inspection. And so here again, I went and pulled that permit, opened it back up. No one said anything to me. I told them I wanted it for water and sewer, but everybody was busy, and I guess they didn't add it on there. I called for an inspection with Clyde on the front end.
Are you almost done, Ms. Linda?
Just about. And Clyde came and he said, Linda, Ms. Marshall, you don't have sewer on your permit, but the sewer is fine. Could you call and go ahead and get the sewer added on? Well, that's when Summer showed up and she says, you didn't have permission to do this. And, it turned into an unfortunate experience for all of us. And so then I went and I had those people sitting there that were going to come, and so I just added those 4 electrical sites to that existing sewer. And that's what got me in trouble. But I did continue to try it. I always talked to the ladies, and I really thought that I was not going to the board that day when I got them all moved off.
Does anybody have anything they want to add? So the issue is a code enforcement issue for us tonight, not a building permit issue.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that I was following you correctly.
Oh, when you asked me, how did you get here?
I got you. It was, all right, thank you. So I have a motion and a second.
Again, I'm only one vote, but the standard we boxed ourselves into, they cannot, are they the original violator? Yes. And so we're down to exigent circumstances. And my mind just keeps going back to the 7 months. The electrical permit was my understanding of the issue. I'm only one vote, the board votes to reduce it. I don't have a problem with it.
Yes, sir.
I've stated this before, I think the purpose of code enforcement needs to bring in compliance and not make a profit, not make extra money. So I would be fine with the hard cost plus 20%, but I will not vote for just leaving it as is.
And by not leaving it as is, what does that mean?
I think she's facing $11,000 that, and we've got a little bit over $1,000 in county and staff time into it, and so, my preference would be the hard cost plus 20%, and that way we've
If you
recovered.
want to make a substitute motion and it passes, then that'll solve the issue.
Let me remind you, you do have to adhere to your ordinance, and so you would have to make some sort of finding of exigent circumstances. And that finding would then be potentially instructive in future cases where these come before you.
Yeah, so maybe, I think what she's trying to say is, what's the special circumstance that makes it?
My answer would be, for the past 2 years, everything has been special. Everything has been chaotic. Everything has been hard to deal with, hard to get labor. And Miss Linda, I'm sure if you said you're going to do it by this date, something could have been done or going to come back, but that's okay. I'm not trying to beat you up over that, but 7 months can fly by like that. So
It didn't stop people building houses, I can tell you that.
Stop houses, didn't stop a lot of activities around here.
And I sympathize with you, I really do. But I have to follow the rules that we all voted on to put on ourselves.
Well, this comes back to the guy that had the roof issue too, that the rule was the rule, and so that is what it is. So
Ralph, I appreciate your point, but I don't see a special circumstance given the time frame that was
I voted against that one.
I know, and I think there was some,
I'm not mad at anybody. I just don't think we should be using this to make money above and beyond what the taxpayers are spend in order to gain compliance.
And that's where I'm at with this here, because, the roof guy, I felt bad for the guy, I understood his circumstance. However, the guidelines and rules are in place, and I actually agreed, I know you were talking about bringing it up one time before, and if it's for hard costs, our plus hard costs, but with this being said, because the way I voted with the gentleman, I'm gonna go with Randy and Chuck on this.
And if you want to bring back an item to change the way code, we can change it.
I need to, because this is
the
probably
second time, but it's...
maybe the third.
Exactly.
It might be the third.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I would be fine with that. But we also don't want to set a precedence where, because we've been through a lot of things where people build things without building permits, and they don't bother to get a permit or have it inspected or anything like that, and if we're going to let this go, we need to let those go. And
we need to be consistent.
If we're not going to follow, if somebody gets a commercial site plan approved and they decide they don't want to follow it, then we need to let them not follow it. We just need to treat everybody the same. But I do understand your point. I do think this fine is probably too harsh, but,
The amount of the fines and the factual circumstances of the case and the finding are not relevant tonight.
Yeah.
The code board decision is final and it was not appealed. We're only talking about the lien.
Okay. Any further discussion? I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, 4-1. We are going to move on into item number 21 under general business. I'm going to present this item, request board approval of amendment number 4 to employment agreement for the Wakulla County Administrator. In late 2020, the Board of County Commissioners and the Wakulla County Sheriff's Office entered into a contract with Evergreen Solutions to conduct a classification and compensation study for all county employees. This included the constitutional officers, and the county administrator's position was included in the study. 13 counties and 2 educational institutions responded. The salary survey range was broken in to reflect the minimum, midpoint, and maximum for each position as provided by peer organizations. The proposed contract amendment number 4 changes are as follows. Adjustment of base salary to $133,123 plus total benefits, effective October 1st, 2022. The base salary will be adjusted annually based upon the higher of the regular across the board cost of living increase percentage given to Wakulla County staff, or the cost of living percentage given to constitutional officers in Wakulla County.
Motion to approve, and I like to add that this is the average between the Florida Association of Counties recommended number, which was lower, and the county, the study that we paid for, which is actually quite a bit higher.
Second.
And this is the same, we adjusted almost every other employee's salary except yours, right, in accordance with this study, with including the Sheriff's Department employees and everybody.
Mr. Dame, are you speaking on this item? Okay.
Jesse, can you, find that number 3?
David Damon. So, it's about a 30% raise. That's a big raise. And I just want to say, this job, county administrator, can't be just about how quickly we can get as many homes built in Crawfordville and as many acres clear cut and as many subdivisions built. It's got to be about taking care of the existing problems. I have an existing problem. This side right here, as David will remember, he walked into my house across that bridge I built back in 2012. And July 10th, 2012, and we had a meeting with the county engineer. 10 years later, not a damn thing has been done about this flooding.
Come on, man. Don't be
I'm sorry, but I found out today that they're channeling more water down our neighborhood. I have asked David over and over again, and I've heard nothing but excuses. And I'm here to say the county administrator needs to take care of existing problems and take care of existing taxpayers and not leave them hanging out to dry like what I feel like I've been done. Now's the time to act on this. We've got the bike trail going in, and I've heard nothing but excuses, and I'm tired of it. People in my neighborhood are tired of it. So, y'all deal with the raise, but I just want to say that this job needs to be more than just about subdivisions. Thank you.
So this isn't a raise, this is a salary adjustment that every single person in this county received across the board at one time, and does anybody have anything else to discuss?
I think I'm the only person that was on the board that actually hired David, right? And I remember one of my first meetings, I was adamant that his salary would be set low. David, you probably remember that too. And he didn't get any of the benefits that the outgoing county administrators got, like special deferred comp and vehicle allowance, all this stuff. You remember, I was adamant that he gets nothing more than anybody else gets. And I said, well, we'll see what happens over the years. And that was about 12 years ago, I think. And I've been around this game long enough to remember when every item was board direction. Now, I'm not disparaging any past county election, but literally, you have a problem like the airport, you have the spray field, you name it. What do y'all want us to do? How do you want us to fix it? You know, there were no, again, not disparaging anybody in the past, because some of them are my friends, but, you know, now we got, here's your options. Here's the financial implications of each option. That didn't exist before, so, and I think he's more than paid for himself as far as bringing money in with grants and, you know, because being able to get along with people and get them to like you is one of the reasons we're getting all this money for this septic sewer stuff. I mean, so I'm a full supporter of it.
Commissioner Hess?
Well, my big issue here is that, you know, maybe during your earlier years, you got rid of the review process. We need to have some way to give feedback to him how we think he's doing.
I agree.
Okay? And so we need to have some type of review process that goes through before we give him a raise. And we say, is he doing a good job or not? And you know, you're going to vote that he does a good job. You know, I have some problems with David on certain issues, and then I agree with him on other issues. But we need to have some way to review his performance among ourselves, okay? And doing it locally in public is difficult. Okay?
It's not difficult. He knows what he signed up for. He is reviewed every 2 weeks. So I don't feel comfortable reviewing the county administrator or the county attorney's contract or anything else without someone else coming in that is professional that does that every day, all day. So if that's what we need to do, then I'm all about figuring out how to get that done.
Well, what we do with the executive director of CRTPA and the ARPC is all the board members provide a feedback review form. But it's not, you know, his raise is not
tied to it.
No.
Okay, but that's not the issue whether it's tied to that or not. I'm just saying we have not judged him, you know, since I've been on the board on how well he's doing.
Because there's no annual review for
Whatever commissioner to review, yes.
I mean, there's no official fill out this by January 1st type form.
That out, when is that, Debbie, in October? Yeah, September, October.
You send out an employee evaluation?
Employee evaluation forms, yes.
So you're saying that the review is not contingent on...
I haven't got one of those that I know of.
I haven't seen one.
I've gotten them, and I've never filled one out. I don't like them. Okay, I don't like them at all because I've seen them used and abused in other positions through the years where everything is rosy and everyone's got a great review, and then we get mad at him, and then we run him off and, well, but you got all these reviews that said he did so great. So my thinking is, my review is every issue and every day. And David will tell you, we've had some issues that we've had some near knockdown dragouts over, only a couple, but we've had some contentious where he and I were in major disagreement.
That was the feral cat issue, right?
One of them was the beach closure. No, okay. that we had over COVID. But we've worked through these things, and I've let him know how I feel, and I'll let him and the public know right now, I'm happy he's here, and I think he's probably the best county administrator that we've ever had. And if you look at, you touched on the grants, somebody will probably know, Brandy probably know, but I think we're in excess of $50 million this year alone that we're being awarded grants. And a lot of that is not just because the money is falling from the sky, it's we have projects that are ready. We have shovel-ready projects. We have a team that backs up our county administrator that knows what we need, and we provide the guidance, but, you know, we make the promises and they make it happen. They put it together, and they put all this information that allows other members of our team to go out and chase these grants, and we've been very effective at getting them.
Well, we also get to have questions along the way and are involved in the process.
Absolutely. If anyone would sit in his monthly meetings that he has with staff and with all staff, you will absolutely feel like you're drinking from a fire hose. They're covering so many items.
So fast.
And he has to be on top of each and every one of them. And so, you know, if we look at this study that we paid for and our employees benefited from, we're still $20,000 below what the study tells us that he should earn. And I can tell you, there's at least one county looking for a county administrator right now. Just fix to say, they've told me that they'd be glad to snag him away from us.
There's a song that says you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Really?
And I think we'd be hard to replace David, to be honest with you, because he's from South Choppy. That's a plus right there. And
That's a big plus.
I remember when we were looking for a county administrator, remember Miss Arts wanted someone that had to have a master's degree. Had to have a master's degree. And that just wasn't the way to do it. Bless Miss Arch's heart, but it's worked out, so our motion stands.
If we didn't live in such a wonderful county here and stop Choppy River in his back door, we'd lost him a long time ago. You know, that's kept him here.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that we keep him here as long as we can.
Fairly compensated, not overly compensated, but fairly.
I'm home.
And, you know, like I said, I've been around 12 years now, and I'm 11 years, and I've worked under and with several other county administrators, so.
You have anything you'd like to add?
I'm obviously for it, and the reason for it, we hired a company to do this study. I looked at everything from the other counties and what we did for every employee, and I want to stay consistent with that. I learned so much in this last year, and I can tell you that I learned just what David does in his staff. And it is absolutely amazing. We have gotten $52 million, if I'm not mistaken, this year just in grants. So my thing is this right here. To me, this is not a raise. It's just like Ms. Quincy said, this is a pay adjustment that we did for every county employee. And I think it's well deserved that he moves forward. Now, however, with this being said, we don't need to stop here, not just with him, but with all of our county employees. We were so far behind before we did this study, and this thing should have been done 10, 15 years ago to move every employee, whether you clean the toilets or whether you're a deputy or a firefighter, every year you do that percentage where you're not hitting something at 33% at a time or 30, whatever it is here. So that's my stance on it. This is just the start of it with all employees.
I want to get back to you, Commissioner Hess. So you want to be able to have access of, and I don't even know about this with regard to time or meeting, you want to be able to participate in the review process or give him feedback. Commissioner Thomas does not want a review, but that is something that we can individually decide whether or not we want to do.
Formal canned one.
Okay.
I think we need to have a situation where we discuss his successes and his failures as a board.
With him and Debbie?
Between us and then with him.
I don't know about that with regard
I
to
don't know how to
sunshine.
do it.
Okay, all right, so we
don't
can
do
figure
that
something
any
out.
other executive directors. All we do is fill out an evaluation.
We only have one.
Well, they only have one at RPC and only one at CRTPA, too.
Well, yeah, but
And it's a big board.
Always open.
Huh?
I'm not involved with those. I'm only involved with this one.
And we can, if we got heartburn, we can bring that up at any meeting.
Well, that's what I said.
I got heartburn. I mean,
The county administrator only has to count to 3. He only has to make 3 of us happy at any given time to stay around.
They have certainly called past administrators publicly out in meetings. It's brutal, too, and I've seen it.
I've seen it, and it's brutal, and you don't want to do it in public no matter what. Okay, and that's the problem. Okay, I've had a lot of things where I've disagreed with David on, and we worked through them, but we have no way to communicate that we're all having similar problems. So we said.
Other than discussion items by commissioner.
Right.
At every meeting. Okay. Our motion stands.
So is your concern that maybe 2 of us might share the same concern and we're not knowing because we can't discuss it?
Right.
Okay.
You would have to discuss it.
In a public meeting.
And then public meeting, and that makes it difficult, because now we're alienating David, okay?
That's what he signed up for. That's what
I've seen that happen in meetings.
Yes.
I've seen it happen before where a commissioner alienated the county administrator, and the whole system between him and that administrator fell apart.
Sure.
And it's
called
it's not pretty. And you don't want to go there.
No.
Okay, but we need to have the
It's
feedback.
happening in Leon County or City of Tallahassee right now.
Might be.
Okay, so I'm going to make my little checklist for my notes to myself. I want to thank Debbie, Heather, Brandy, Greg, and I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody else for all of their assistance. I mentioned Evergreen Solutions. I'm not sure if we mentioned or not. I think Commissioner Thomas mentioned about the additional step that we took with regard to FAC, and he provided staff with a study for similar parameters that mirror Wakulla County. And I just wanted to say again, I say it all the time, that it takes a special person to be a county administrator because every day he's balancing three egos, two personalities, staff, citizens, state and federal relationships, just for the daily operations of everything that we get to come up here and vote on. So I have a motion and a second. Anybody have anything else to add? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Yes.
Okay, passes 4-1. Alrighty, we're going to move right on into public hearings, please. Item number 22.
I'll handle that one, Madam Chair. This is a request board approval to conduct a public hearing and adopt an ordinance calling for a referendum election to extend the county's authority to grant economic development ad valorem tax exemptions.
So moved. Second. This is going to be before the voters. They will be the ones to decide this issue.
That is correct. If this only gives you the authority to grant them. If there was an applicant who wanted to request one, that would have to come back to the board and be approved by a subsequent ordinance.
This just puts it on the ballot.
And how many times have we used this?
This has not been used. It's been on the books for 9-ish years now. One other minor change that this does is after the initial adoption of this ordinance back in 2012, the legislature did change. Economic development ad valorem tax exemptions only last for 10 years. The legislature did make a change to allow data centers to go for 20 years, and so that change is also included in here.
Okay.
Lots of data centers.
Have a motion and a second? All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. Item number 23.
Yes, Madam Chair. This agenda item requests board approval to conduct the public hearing and approve the purchase and sale agreement for the acquisition of 4 lots, vacant lots, fronting on Paulette Drive, Howdy Trail, Brook Lane, and potential stormwater pond.
Wish to approve. This is in Wakulla Gardens, Unit 5, correct? This is where it's at. It's in Wakulla Gardens. Second.
Have a motion.
Low-lying lots.
Low-lying lots that need to be, holding our stormwater.
I'm glad to see somebody finally buying these lots.
We bought our share lately. I'm on the...
Not wanting to wax nostalgia.
Yeah,
Through there with Mr. Frank Evans' old truck that used to measure distance probably in 1996. There was nothing out there. I drove through and identified the low spots. So guys, if you buy vacant lots, now, of course, nobody did anything. But now the prices are up a lot higher. Now we're going to buy them. That's government for you.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. Item number 24.
Yes, Madam Chair. This agenda item requests board approval to conduct a public hearing and approve the purchase and sale agreement for the acquisition of lots 21 and 22 in Silver Glen subdivision for potential use as a recreation park, parking, and rest area for the Oklahoma Bay Bike Trail and a parking area for the Rojo boat ramp on Oklahoma Bay.
Motion to approve. Second. Another example of an item that is going to be being taken care of proactively and not retroactively.
Well, I've been advocating that we need to expand our water access, and this is the only way to do it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. Item number 25 from planning and zoning was pulled. Any no commissioner agenda items?
You need to have the add-on.
Oh, yes, we have that on. Madam Chair, this agenda item requests approval of the first amended consent order between the Florida Department of Environmental Protection and Wakulla County relating to the Otter Creek wastewater treatment facility.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Very exciting reading.
Very exciting reading. I have some questions about it. Number one, David is one of the things that bothers me about David, because the last 5 years I've asked him how soon the water is going to get to the golf course, and every time it was in 6 months, in 6 months. Well, it wasn't David's fault. 5 years down the road, or a $20,000 fine, and we still haven't gotten the water there. We're supposed to be able to do it now.
Make sure you say why, because we still they're still trying to meet the nitrogen standard. It's a very complicated process to get that fine.
We have the tools, we have the mechanics, we just, the plant hasn't gotten up to standard yet.
Fine tune it.
To fine tune it, to get it down below the 6 milligrams per liter.
3, actually.
3. So, but my question is we were getting fined, we were failing in our, our ability to handle our wastewater, but every time we had a comp plan amendment, it said we had the ability to handle it. And why is that? And that bothers me. Okay, we were just glossing over the fact that our sewer system was not, shall we say, Ned, you wrote these letters, so our sewer systems had the capacity to handle all this development, and now we're finding out that it didn't have the capacity to handle all this.
I asked the exact same question today, Chuck, because DEP has a standard where when you reach a certain percent capacity, you have mandatory shut-off for new connections. That's right, David? I don't know what percentage it is, 90, 95, 98%, but once we hit that threshold, DEP is going to say, all right, no more, nobody else hooks on.
That's based on capacity, not on nitrogen standards.
No, based on capacity, not on nitrogen standards. It's based on the actual flow of the plant. And I asked David about that today. Chuck, coincidentally, same thing. How is our flow doing? And you assured me that
That was fine, we can accept more, and we were always able to accept flow, we still are today. This is about the spray field. But the consent order is about the spray field and the monitoring wells. DEP will tell you it's about the monitoring wells, and that's because our plant was not producing the effluent that it should have produced, that it was planned to produce. Therefore, it contaminated the monitoring wells, hence the consent order. So therefore, now it's cleaning itself up. We're going to have, the monitoring wells should be, on our next round, should be much better than what they are.
they contaminate too. Make sure you clarify that the nitrogen
was higher than the standard, and that was it.
Groundwater.
That's right, than the background. So therefore, that is being corrected now. So that's what this is about. And that was the loading, and we're loading that. But also DEP, we've kept DEP right here. We've said, hey, here's what we're doing. That's the reason y'all approved the sewer study, 2 years ago? We've implemented the sewer study. We've implemented all these things that are going to take care of this. Y'all know the effluent issues that we've had.
And they were going to fund the construction of the
That's right.
Jerry Moore property.
That's right, and we're working with them right now to help us fund with the golf course as well. So, yes, all this is in the works. And what this has to do with those monitoring wells, just a few of the monitoring wells, not all of them.
It's not a hydraulic capacity.
Not a hydraulic capacity.
My understanding is...
Or a biological capacity. We're past that.
So the effluent we were putting out, say, is 8, I don't know, whatever it is, and the standard is 5. And now we're putting out 3. So eventually it's going to dilute it down to where the compliance is going to be in line with the background.
Now, what we do have to do is we are overloading the spray field. That will go to, but as soon as we have seven consecutive, or something like that, 8, then we're going to be able to send...
Consecutive what?
8 consecutive reports, weeks of...
Weeks?
Or weeks that...
Not MORs anymore, they're weekly reports.
It's weekly lab testing.
Okay.
So that's the cycle right now for that. You still do your MOR, DMR.
Is the central port, where is it at? At the spray field head?
Looking at our straight effluent right now.
Straight?
Because they know that what our effluent is, like you said, is going directly to the discharge and to the monitoring wells. So they know as long as we can hold that effluent quality for a certain amount of time, then you're good.
Are they checking it as it comes out of the plant or just before it goes into the spray field heads?
Out of the plant.
Out of the plant.
So what happens after 8 successful?
Good on the valve to the golf course.
Okay.
And
We haven't tested that.
The issue is that our spray fields for 600,000 gallons a day. How much have we been putting?
We're about 700,000, 700 to 800.
Over capacity on our spray field for the last...
Another good point I wanted to make too, I asked David, we have been meeting the standard for human contact, right? The BOD and TSS is below what it needs to be for human contact. It's just the nitrogen,
Nitrogen
which
is
is kind of ludicrous because you're spraying it on grass, but anyway, the nitrogen is not down to AWT standards.
That's right. The nitrogen has been the headache.
And we're not, are we even counting the nitrogen uptake at the golf course? Or is that going into the
There will be
calculation?
nitrogen, yeah, that's right, but we would love to have more nitrogen on it for the golf course to really do well, but we can't do that because it's AWT. But it would be nice to be able to have that extra nitrogen.
Well, that's fertilizer.
That's right, less fertilizer.
Are they going to take
We're actually
nitrogen
working against
uptake
ourselves.
of the grass into account when we do start spraying on it?
It all boils down to monitoring wells. We're going to install monitoring wells at the golf course. That's going to be the telltale.
Motion to approve again.
Have a motion and a second?
I used to run the wastewater plant.
We all know that.
All in favor? Aye. New Commissioner agenda items, County Attorney?
Nothing additional this evening.
County Administrator?
Yes. Couple of things. Brandy, would you like to bring them up to date on your RFP?
Yes, very briefly, we will be reissuing the procurement for the countywide radio system this Thursday, the 10th. That begins our cone of silence or quiet period.
So we don't need to talk to anybody about the radios, is that what you're trying to say?
Do not talk to anybody about the radios. If you receive any emails from any potential vendors, please forward them directly to me. We're going to be watching this very closely, and if a vendor needs to be disqualified, we'll move forward that direction.
I don't think that happened last go-around, right? Nobody, there's code of silence wasn't broken or anything?
No, not that I can verify. And so one of the things that I wanted to let you know is we received some feedback from TUSA, who is our consultant, that the amount of time that we allowed the advertisement to be on the street before proposals were due was very brief, and that potentially limited the amount of bidders that we had in the first attempt. So we made the decision to leave this out for 90 days this time. So our quiet period is going to be a long time. So I will keep you guys aware of where we are in the process, but the bids are not due until May. And then this won't come to you for award until July. So this is going to be a long period, but that allows the other players in the game to have some time to also submit a proposal and hopefully make it more competitive, because there's 4 big people that are involved in this type of procurement. And so, and I also know that a couple of you mentioned previously that you would like to be more aware of the process this time. If not you, if I send out some kind of bi-weekly emails about what's going on at this time, is that satisfactory, so you at least know where we are in the process?
With regard to that, what do you mean where we are in the process? Like how long the cone of silence is?
Yep, just some awareness, so you know, hey, we've...
About the vendors.
Not anything about the vendors, just, hey, we had our site visits today, and, you know, now we're in our technical question period, that just to keep you aware of what's going on in the process.
If it makes you happy, go ahead and do it.
I do.
I'm trying to, make 3 of you happy, so apparently that's the standard.
Administrator?
No, I do not. And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, thank you. So we'll keep you up to date. That's going to be a long process, and we're also working, Michelle and I are working with Triumph, and I can't emphasize enough that there was enough stuff going around about the last time we went out that Triumph got a little skittish. So I don't want to lose our funding, so please, dead silence. That includes everybody.
No meetings,
No meetings, no talking, no nothing, because they're looking for any excuse they can not to fund us.
Or nothing.
That's right, no nothing. No head nods, no...
His email is
suggestions on...
No suggestions, none of that stuff. And consultants, just stay away. Also, we will be having this is for the public as well as commissioners. We got some feedback from our frontline staff that there was considerable questions being asked about the septic sewer project that will be starting hopefully this week. Justin started today at Griner's Addition or Magnolia's Garden, what we call Magnolia Gardens Phase 3. Liberty.
That's where Roosevelt Lowry lives, right?
Yeah, and so anyway, there have been considerable questions. So next Tuesday at the community center at 6 o'clock, we'll be having a session there to talk about it. We'll put a sign, Mike's going to put the flashing billboard and all that stuff in there, and we're going to see about maybe some door hangers or something like that if we can, to get the word out.
Roosevelt Lowry, everybody else would.
And so that if you got any questions, please come. Secondly, for those who want to participate, the broadband speed test, we have added a link onto our website. That is the www.mywakulla.com website under the residence page. Please go to that, because when you link that, it'll test your home's broadband speed. But what it does is it'll tell you what it is, but it sends it to DEO. So they put it on a map, so therefore they can get some sort of idea of what's going on countywide with our broadband.
Dial-up too? That's what I got.
No, that dial-up, that went away with AOL, so.
You have to pedal.
And we're still having the community meeting this Thursday.
What's that?
We're still having the community meeting this Thursday.
I was getting to that one, Commissioner. The ARPC and FSU are hosting a broadband internet information system session open to the public on Thursday, February 10th at 6:30 at the Wakulla County Community Center as well. All right, now...
Sir, one moment.
Yes.
May I interrupt you?
No, you go ahead.
Would you like to say anything about Miss Caroline?
She's not trying to put you on the spot.
She loves being put on the spot. Come here.
Come to the microphone.
The mic.
You're going to be put on the spot.
What, is it on? Ah, there we go. Hi, so thanks for the opportunity, the unexpected opportunity to speak. I'm Caroline Smith. I'm with the Appalachia Regional Planning Council. And yes, we have a workshop on Thursday. It will actually be mostly facilitated by the Florida State University Department of Urban Regional Planning, who's helping with this broadband feasibility study for Wakulla County. The Appalachia Regional Planning Council staff will be there as well. And we're hoping it'll be a great opportunity for community input on broadband needs across the county, so that we can be better informed moving forward with broadband implementation potentially in the future.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have one last item, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Historically, this is about the extension director in the selection process. Historically, the county has worked with UF on jointly an agreement on filling the position of the director's position. The way it works is University of Florida, IFAS, they will work through a set of applicants, whittle it down, they'll set up their own teams to talk to the candidates, and then they'll make a recommendation to the county with just one candidate. In the past, we have taken that. The other alternative as a part of this is there's two ways to do it. That's one way. The second is for the board, if you want to be involved as a board, involved in the hiring of the director or any positions at the Extension Center, you would need to pass a resolution that would ask the University of Florida to provide you with 3 qualified applicants. They would vet them, qualify them, send them down and say, okay, here's your folks, you guys, you 5, would rank them, select one, and then send it back to the University of Florida.
What percentage does the university pay this?
They pay 70% of the person's salary plus the benefits. We pay 30%.
As the county administrator, can you direct that person to do anything, or their employer is the University of Florida?
We work together. I never directed them. Right.
Their employer is the university.
So you don't have any authority over them, and I just assume it the way it is. But I would ask this, we discussed this earlier, I think the single biggest agricultural operation in this county is beekeeping.
Yes.
So I would ask that whoever they decide to pick for us to either decline, we can always say we don't want that person, but please see if they can have some beekeeping experience. I know you said Les, the beekeepers work really good with them. I know we have limited.
Les and the beekeepers will work very close together.
Beekeeper, I think by far is
So we had a letter of recommendation from the beekeepers for Les. But anyway, so I open that up for discussion for you guys to talk about what you want us to do, because the question has come up, do we want to, the board should be more involved in this hiring process, and that's the two processes. And if you decide to go forward with the way we've always done it, we'll let the University of Florida know. If not, next meeting, we'll present to you guys a resolution and requesting to go that process of getting 3 qualified candidates in here.
I have one question with regard to whenever the IFAS hires someone or has a potential candidate that comes forward, and then they've gone through the selection process with them, and then they're like, here's the person we picked, would you like to meet, Zoom, Skype, what have you? When we do that, are we allowed to give feedback to you or them, or at any time can we say, yeah, this is a good fit for us, thanks for sending them here, or no, this is not going to work for us?
I would assume,
without a resolution? Sorry.
Well, I would assume that would be, that feedback would come at the time of your vote on that person, when we bring that agenda item forward. And if you have a problem at that time, voice it in front of the commission, and then if because y'all vote on that position. And as Commissioner Thomas says, it takes 3. So that would be when I would assume that you would bring up those issues, and then naturally that would get back to the University of Florida, and we'd have to see how that works. I haven't run into that, so
Okay, and then I guess I want to talk about a resolution. With regard to a resolution, does that mean that this body is going to be involved in hiring the after-school people, the horticulturists, that is very, what is that?
The state statute does not distinguish this is just for the director.
Okay. The state statute, it is just for the director?
No, it does not.
Oh, it does not?
It does not.
Okay, so that opens up a whole entire uniforms with regards to how much. So we're going to be telling the extension director that we don't like the person they hired for 4-H after school? Potentially?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
That's just, again, we don't have any authority over this person, the director. No, I don't think,
We do have authority with regard to the selection process once they are presented to us.
Day-to-day, like he has with Brandy, or he has with, whoever, department heads. He's not a county department head.
There are a mixture of county employees over there that are our employees. The 4-H program is an example of that. They have an office manager that is a county employee that takes direction from county staff. And so it is a little bit of a hybrid, but there is some control in the employees that get hired. So for the 4-H program, that runs through a committee that is the 4-H people, and they work partially for UF and partially for the county. They make the decision, but that also has to come through Debbie and everything for approval and processing of background checks and our normal paperwork too. So it's a little bit of a hybrid mixture. But the 4-H is our staff.
The director is not.
The director is not, but many of the other county employees are.
Madam Chair, and our own staff that fall under David, building official, fire chief, we don't get involved in that hiring process. We have the bottom line approval when he presents them to us, so this is the exact same thing. I think we need to keep it just the way it is. If they fell under charter, if UF fell under our charter, we wouldn't even think about breaching that and be a part of that hiring process. So I think we need to be consistent on that.
I feel the opposite. I feel like we need to be involved in who we hire here for the extension office. It's going to be day-to-day working here in our county. So I would like to have a resolution for us to be involved.
Well, we are involved, but my concern is that we're not experts, okay, on the subject matter that the county extension officer holds. We've got our areas of expertise, and none of us are in agriculture.
Okay, so why would we be involved in the agricultural extension office, and as part of this? Let the University of Florida, who does this, make the decisions.
I agree. I do know a thing or two about beekeeping, but we won't go into that.
I know a little thing about forestry, but...
Well, maybe you could apply.
Oh, good. I have the right initials.
Any other discussion? What would be the pleasure, Heather? Do we need to take a vote on this with regard to bringing back a resolution? Do we need to have a motion to leave things? What do we need to do?
I mean, I think if you wanted to change the way things were currently done, then we would bring you back an action item that you could approve in the future. It seems to me there's consensus to keep as is. Commissioner Kent would like to change it, but I think the other 4 votes I saw were not moving in that direction.
Well, and I'm not crazy. I mean, I am going to agree with Chuck with regard to even David. I'm not crazy about, that the University of Florida choosing the candidate, them being presented to us, and us voting against them. I mean, I would hope that would be some sort of easier, simpler, when we have the candidate presented to us, that we could say, can we talk to them? Because I talked to the last extension director that was hired here.
Well, I would imagine that if through the interviewing process of that person,
Debbie always sends us notice and says, hey.
If you say, hey, listen, I've got a problem with this, and 3 or 4 of y'all say, wait, we got a problem, that we would take care of it prior to coming
Just pick up the
to the board. We'd pick up the phone to the University of Florida and say, hey, I don't think this is going to work.
Okay.
I haven't run into that, but I would assume that's what we would do.
But at the end of the day, we get to deny approving the person that is from the University of Florida.
As it is currently
Thank you.
established, without doing the resolution, you would be presented with the candidate, you could talk to them, and then you would ultimately have to vote yes or no, and if you voted no, they'd bring you another candidate.
Okay.
And the reason I bring this up, this is y'all's your choice. Now, we'll do whatever you want to do, but this is your choice on how you want to handle it. Either keep doing where we are now, or the other way.
Okay. Any more discussion? So you don't need anything?
Nope.
I mean, if you guys want to vote one way or the other, you're welcome to, but you don't have to.
Okay, thank you.
I'm outvoted.
This is the first time?
Poor thing.
I just think we should be involved in the process. That this person's going to be working every day with the county administrator, us, all that. I understand what Chuck's saying, but I just feel like we need to be involved with it because of, they're going to be important. They're going to be working with our kids and all county.
I'll go back to Ralph's analogy, which I didn't even think of, but it's a very good point. This person's like a department head. We don't go hire the building official. We don't go hire any other department head, the road and bridge superintendent. Those people work with David too, and they work with the public, so if nothing else to be consistent, it should stay out of our hands.
No, and at the end of the day, we can always say that we don't want that person.
Just like we can with the building official.
Just like we can with David.
Also, I'd like to thank y'all for your support and of myself. I have about 8 or 10 more years, and y'all can be selecting someone else. So, but I appreciate it. But the big thing is the good news.
I won't be here selecting.
You won't be here, Randy. But is as I go back to our staff, I'm only as good as they are. So thank God we got a great staff and great commissioners, because we can't do it unless y'all approve it. So thank y'all for everything as well. So that's it.
Okay. Wow, Randy at 6:15. I know, glad it's raining. Any more citizens to be heard, Jess? Clerk, would you like to say anything tonight?
No, Lord.
You good?
Don't even ask him.
So rude. Have we not covered any discussion items by commissioners?
I have one.
Oh, wow, okay.
I got one too.
Okay.
I would like to ask the chair how she enjoyed her first CRTPA meeting, and if she now understands why I don't mind not being on that board.
No,
How long was it?
no comment.
How many speakers were there?
40.
40 speakers.
It was about 5 hours.
5 hours. What time did it start?
5:30.
5:30 at night.
Not 5 hours, 4 hours.
Okay, and it was most of us about the Thomasville Road bike path, which has nothing to do with Wakulla County.
It has everything to do.
Did you complain about it also?
No, I was in favor of it.
Okay. Half the people were in favor, half deadly in favor of it, and the other half were deadly against it. You gotta love Tallahassee. Anyway, I'm glad you're doing it, not me.
Thank you.
ARPC was a sheer joy, but now Quincy's doing that too.
Oh, thank you, Randy.
It's nice not to have to worry about so many meetings.
Is that it?
That's it?
Yeah, I want to, I talked to David Damon today, and I talked to also David about this, and I know none of us was up here, and from showing what David has showed me, and also looking at some of the other things later, which I didn't get a chance to talk to my dad today, because I was going to ask him, if we are at fault for what has happened on Carter Road, I think we should fix it. I know none of us was county commissioners. If that is the case, I don't know that. I'm actually going to talk to my dad and find out what happened back in 2006 with some of that.
You need to talk to Don.
Yeah, well, I'm going to talk to him because I know he was heavily involved with that.
He went out there many times.
So that's why I say if it's something that we have done, I think we should be responsible for fixing it. If there's a way, I know David said there were some studies and stuff that might have had to been done if that's the case, maybe, but I do like to look for us to look into this because I looked at the pictures and some of that road is completely washed out. Now, from what I understand, that's only happened 3 times in how many years?
Since 2006.
2006, so obviously, back in 2012, Debbie, that was a 100-year storm, I guess you could say. A lot of places flooded.
I got off the Public Works in '07. I've been me and Don have been out there several times when that road's been underwater. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Talk to your dad.
So I would like us to look at if it's something that is caused.
Well, I agree with you, and I'm just looking at it. I went out there today, and, you're taking a 36-inch culvert and taking it across the road to a 12-inch culvert. That doesn't make any sense. The only way it can go is go out into the woods, where there's 100 yards down the road, there's a wetlands that probably could handle all this water. Why doesn't it flow there, and why, did we change it, or did it just, why doesn't it go there? And it seems like we could fix that fairly simple, but...
Well, nothing against you, Mr. David, but Jesse Carter, I want to go talk to Jesse, he's been there 52 years.
Yeah, talk to Jesse.
So I'd like to find out if this has been a problem the whole time, that it's always been that way when Jesse lived there. Don't know until I talk to Jesse, or filling in the pond, if that was a problem that the county had let them do it. I mean, all I'm saying, if it's our fault, I think we should fix it, if it's proven to be. Obviously, you probably know who we want to talk to, so.
Talk to Jesse and talk to Don.
Can I say one thing? It's an easy fix right now with the bike trail going in. And that's all I'm saying. It can be dealt with right now. Aside from what's happened in the past, we can fix it right now before they pile all that dirt.
Aside from what
That's
happened
all
in the past. That's the secret.
The problem is do we know if we're going to talk to I've got a call in the Water Management District to talk about it. The problem is when you shift water, when you shift water, there's been, other than are we going to flood someone else?
Yeah, and I don't want to...
And nobody in this room can tell you for sure that'll happen, that won't happen. That's our problem, because once we make that shift, we own it.
Let's let her talk to Jesse and
Well, it's still, at that point in time, the citizens of this county own it. But right now, we want to help, but we don't want to help here and damage here.
And I agree with that 100%.
And that's the problem.
I didn't know, I just looked at the road and the pictures and...
So, I mean, it's not an easy fix, and there's flooding issues in all the parts of the county that some can be fixed, some can't. And that's the way
Well, I'm saying...
David, go ahead, Tom. Please don't.
So...
Well, I'm going to talk to my dad, like I said, I didn't get in touch with him today.
This rings very similar to Rodney. I don't know if you remember the preacher on Ivan Church Road. His house was getting flooded. He built it. He was you remember him? Mm-hmm. And ultimately, he asked me, I ran the public works, saying, what can I do to fix it? I said, build a berm around it, and which is what he did, and I'm not saying that's what he should do, but he said the county was flooding him and this and that.
And I'm not opposed to looking at whatever you come up with.
Yeah, I just want to look, and like you said, I know that,
I noticed from the photos, the home's on stilts,
yeah.
okay? Somebody thought it needed to be on stilts to build, or they built it on stilts. So I'd like to see things like the flood maps. Is it in the flood zone? How long has it been in the flood zone? LiDAR data, we've got a lot of resources that could be looked at.
Yeah, that's what I want to do, look at it and see if it's a problem. That's something we could,
Well, we know it's a problem. The question is what's the solution?
No, who caused the problem is another question. That's not the only question.
Oh, is it if we cause the problem, then we do need to fix it.
Yeah.
Well, that can be proven, yeah.
I don't disagree with that.
but I'm going to talk to him, try to get in touch tomorrow.
Done?
Yep.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes. So I believe today we're opening up, taking applications for the CDBG grant for replacing homes. Renovating homes. And so it's on the county website under the planning department. And I believe it's a pretty short window of time to make those applications. So if you guys know anyone that needs renovations to their homes, please send them that website.
This is not weatherization, right? And what's the income threshold to apply, qualify? Okay. But it is intended for low-income households, right? Rehab.
So there's a phone number on there. Jay Mosley is managing that for the county, so,
And that is separate from SHIP funds?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
That's very important for people to know.
I guess $500,000 we get every year, and we usually put it all towards this, right?
Just one other thing. We talked a little bit about broadband. I plan to attend the meeting on Thursday. And for anyone who has not heard, Wakulla has arrived, and we now have Starlink. I got mine about 2 weeks ago. Game changer.
What is Starlink?
Elon Musk, Starlink, high-speed internet. I'm now downloading 250 megabits per second.
Is it satellite based?
Satellite based.
And it's two-way, it's download and upload is
Upload
satellite?
is not as fast. Upload, I'm probably getting 25 to 50 meg upload.
But it's satellite upload and download?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Interesting. How much does it cost?
$99 a month, unlimited, no caps. And it's absolutely fantastic. I live in the woods, glad I live in the woods, but this is a game changer.
Wow.
There's people that have, a great connection with Comcast that are not getting that kind of speed. It is available. It took 13 months. I gave them a deposit in December of 2020, and I got my dish.
So there's no infrastructure required, just, it's kind of like Dish Network, where it's independently set up at your house?
Yep, I set it up myself. It's got an antenna, it's got a router, a cable, and a power cord.
You know how cheap I am, Ralph, I'm probably going to look into that.
That is it. Now, there is a $500 upfront cost for the equipment, one-time fee. There's no contract, no membership. You don't like it, you can cancel it, you're just out.
Did they replace it? If something happens to the equipment?
I don't know that they've got.
We're not even announced it.
I think this is something new that I would say probably not, but maybe there's a warranty period.
Okay. Very interesting, I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
And that's big for people that are in the rural areas then.
And the dish is that long.
It worked in Smith Creek then, it worked anywhere, right?
Absolutely anywhere. It's a low orbit satellite system, so you have to make sure you have, few obstructions.
Just like Dish Network, kind of.
Yeah, but dish points higher in the sky.
Gotcha.
And so this point's kind of northeast, and so, in my case, I crawled all over my rooftop was my best spot. They've got a nice app, you can map it all out, and I found the spot that's less than 1% obstruction, throughout a 24-hour period.
Just make sure Chuck does not have to cut trees down to get better signal.
Yeah, I can top off some old oaks and get a better signal, but I'm not going to do that, and it's not worth it,
Good, I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah.
How's it doing everybody else? Overcast.
Fine. I did a speed test, I guess last night when it was raining real hard, and I was getting 230 megabits. And the latency is low, generally below 70 milliseconds. And every once in a while, it tracks all this. You might have a second outage, and then an hour later, 2-second outage, and that all depends on your obstructions, mainly.
Y'all get that new thing called Netflix now.
Oh, we've been burning it up for 2 weeks now.
You watch every episode of Friends.
Do you have anything?
I was gonna bring up the same thing that Mike did, so it's...
Okay, so we're good on that. David?
One more thing. Michelle is going to be getting communicating with our legislative consultant and hopefully give us a brief next week in 2 weeks at our meeting on the 22nd.
Okay. Perfect.
Motion adjourn.
Adjourn.